back to Mayhem with Maverick, brought to you by Mayhem Studios, LLC. As you saw, we have a new logo. I hope you like it. I really like it. And I plan on doing some merchandise with it real soon, and I'll let you know once that stuff is ready. So let's get rolling into it, right? What is going on with the U.S. Navy right now? The USS Harry Truman has lost 3 FA-18 Super Hornets in the past few months. Those are $67 million each. Okay? The most recent incident was they lost it overboard while moving it in the hangar bay. Now, if you've never seen an aircraft carrier, the internal part of the ship, there's a hangar bay. It's a bay. It's where they keep the planes. It's where they work on the planes. And then they use elevators to go up to the flight deck. I was on a helo carrier. Same concept, but for helicopters, right? So my brain is kind of wondering how this happened, because I get it if it falls overboard from the flight deck because it wasn't anchored right or wasn't chalked down right, flying, all that. But in the hangar bay being moved makes me wonder what was going on, if the crew was even paying attention. One of the other incidents that they lost a Super Hornet was it was accidentally shot down over the Red Sea by the USS Gettysburg. Our own ships shot our own plane down. Accidentally. Okay, yeah, all right, accidentally. Why, though? What kind of accident is that? We're shooting our own shit down and we're not even in a war. Sometimes during war that happens, the fog of war. But, you know, I think there was an incident that during that time there was an incident with the Houthis, but still, this wasn't like World War II carpet bombing and we accidentally shot our plane down. You know, we have modern technology nowadays. IFF, radar, all this stuff. We still accidentally shot down one of our own Super Hornets. And the other one, the third one that they lost, it fell overboard during an unsuccessful landing. So it was coming in, whatever happened, it didn't make the landing correctly, and it got ditched into the water. Now, on all 3 of these incidents, no personnel were hurt. The pilots, crew on the ship, no one was hurt, which is good. So losing equipment, hey, it's part of doing business. But that's really weird that in that time period, that many planes. And then, back in February, the Truman was involved in a collision in the Mediterranean Sea. And what happened? Their commanding officer, Dave Snowden, was fired. So what's going on the Truman right now is a big question for me. You know, and I'm not trying to say anybody's at fault, but I can tell you that this concerns me about training in the military, specifically the Navy, but in the military in general, right? The military under Biden was so concerned about DEI and agendas instead of focusing on military training. And I can say this firsthand. I worked at the Navy RTC Recruit Training Command. I was a senior enlisted. I saw the push for transgender. I saw the push for wokeism. I saw the push about let's train our sailors on who can use the bathroom and who can't use the bathroom. We started focusing on the wrong things. All right. And the military in general started focusing on the wrong things. They were more worried about public perception of the United States military. As the United States military, we don't need to worry about perception of what the civilians think. That's my honest opinion, right? We go do a job that many of the people in this country don't want to do. You know, it's a very small percentage of the American country that joins the U.S. military. So you don't get to judge us because we don't want to have transgenders in the military, or we don't want to promote somebody because of their color, sex, or creed. We want to promote people because they're good workers, okay? And this is the problem. We need to stop worrying about who can and can't use the bathroom and focus back on war fighting and fighting forces. For the Navy specifically, firefighting. I've heard from many of friends that a lot of ships are having issues with firefighting training because the guys are failing, because they're not focused on the training properly. So we need to be a proper naval force. And then, you know, Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, he's already pushing lots of changes. And one of the things is war fighting. You know, the military is here to protect our country and to fight whatever wars we get sent off to. Whether you like the wars or not and who they are, you still have a job, and that is war fighting. So I don't know what's going on, but hey, guys need to start pulling their heads out their ass, and they need to start training, and not worried about all this crazy stuff. All right. Did you hear this? In New York City, I'm amazed at the stuff that I've seen in my life, but this tops it. So in New York City, animal rescuers found over 50 Belgian Malinois. Now these dogs, Belgian Malinois, if you don't know, I used them in the U.S. military as a canine handler. Some police departments use them. Lots of militaries all around the world use Belgian Malinois. They're high drive. They're amazing dogs. And you can pull a video up at any time and see them jumping over cars and jumping. They're crazy dogs, right? They have a lot of energy. And then when people always talk to me about, hey, I'm thinking about getting one, I always tell them, listen, you better have time for them. You better have a yard. You better be able to engage. So now, take all that information, and they found 50 of them in an apartment, overcrowded apartment in Queens. In Queens, right? The New York director of the Animal Care Center stated this: they've never touched grass, walked on a leash, or met a stranger. They had never left the apartment, folks. They found the dog stuffed in closets, in cupboards, packed in tight spaces. They found one living behind a couch. They had no access to fresh air or sunlight. Now, knowing how hyper these dogs are and how cramped that they're describing, I don't know how the apartment wasn't destroyed. I mean, it was destroyed in other ways. The amount of urine and feces. But I know I had a Malinois that loved to tear up baseball hats. We had another Malinois at Groton that managed to get around through the cage and tore up the headrest of the police car. These guys they're so amped up, they have to do stuff, right? So I still don't understand how this apartment didn't get destroyed, right? So this apartment was on the 7th floor. And the neighbors stated the entire floor smelled of urine and feces, right? The owner, the person that owned that apartment, he was a bomb canine security officer at an airport. They never said what airport, but he was a bomb canine at an airport. Residents said that was the only reason why he was allowed to have a dog in the apartment, was because it was a service dog, So they were like, we'll make an exemption. You got to hear some of the quotes from these neighbors, right? One neighbor was quoted, "We always wondered, why does it smell so bad? If it was the bomb dog that just peed all around?" Another one said, "We all assumed that there were 2 or 3 dogs in there. We would never have imagined that they were that many. We never saw them." And another one says, "It always smells like that. I always hear them barking, and he always threw the poop out on the balcony." So at what point do you accept that smell and that disgust? I think that one of his punishments should be he should never be allowed to own an animal. I don't care if it's a goddamn hamster or a goldfish. He should never be allowed to own an animal, let alone be a canine handler. It just baffles me how that apartment didn't collapse. And I only got one picture of it, and I'll show it to you. I'm just in awe, I guess is the best thing to say. I'm in awe because I've seen stuff. I've seen animal abuse. I had a case in Clearwater where I think we pulled out like 30 animals out of an apartment. But they were all different animals. Some were Belgian Malinois, there was a Scotty that my mom ended up adopting. There was some ferrets, there was fish. There was a whole bunch of different animals. 50 freaking dogs. I don't know why it took this long to say something and get involved, But then again, I love New York City. Don't get me wrong, but you can walk around that city and smell urine all the time. So I love New York City, but maybe they thought it was coming from the outside. I don't know. Okay, let's talk about fuck around and find out. All right. Letitia James, the New York Attorney General, right? She was more than happy to drag President Trump through the New York State court system, right? All over some rarely prosecuted law dealing with fraud and loans and property, right? She was more than happy to do that. Well, now she's getting hers. Oh, yeah, she fucked around and she found out. And here it is, folks. Remember, this is the woman that campaigned and won her election on the promise she would put Trump behind bars. And she's now being criminally investigated for the same thing she went after Trump. I mean, let's remember, she called Trump a con man because she claimed that he overvalued some of the properties to get better interest rates and all that. That's what she claimed, and that's what she went after him for. And that's eventually what they did convict him of, but he's on an appeal. Okay, and I have a feeling he'll win his appeal once they pull out, oh, the judge was biased, Letitia James is biased, because when she did do this, right, when she ran for her campaign, she called him a con man, right? I already said that. This is what she said during her campaign. What is fueling this campaign is what is fueling my soul right now. Trump and his abuses against immigrants, his abuses against women, his abuses against our environment. We need an attorney general who will stand up to Donald Trump. Well, some of those things are bullshit because, she's going off of policies and stuff like that. But she committed fraud doing the same thing that she accused Trump of purchasing homes and not telling the truth. So there are investigations in New York State and Virginia State, right? So in Virginia, she told her lender that the house that she was buying in Virginia was going to be her primary residence. And she got a lower interest rate for that. How can you live primarily in the state of Virginia when you are the New York State Attorney General, which requires you to be a New York State resident, which means you have to be primarily residing in the state of New York? It's on paper. This isn't like people made this up. It's on the loan paperwork. Okay? Then New York State's investigating her because back in 2001, she bought a home that she claimed was a 5-unit home, but somehow got it under a 4-unit loan, which gave her a lower interest rate. And that's easy to prove because the 2001 New York City occupancy document states that the house is a 5-unit house, but she claims that it's only a 4-unit house. So she lied on that. And again, not made up. They have paperwork showing this. So she's got multiple issues going on buying property, which is the same thing she went after Trump for, right? So here's where I have issues, okay? When you try so hard to go after somebody, you better make sure you have no dirt and you have no skeletons in your closet, okay? Because if you're dirty, it's going to come out. And all you got to do, hey, Letitia, all you got to do, go talk to Fani Willis, okay? It's amazing how so many Democrats want to go after Trump, but they got so many skeletons in their closet too. And I don't know if Trump really did do that or not, but I can tell you this. Again, don't come after somebody slinging dirt if there's dirt on you. Okay? So, and becoming part of this fuck around and find out club is James Comey, the former FBI head, right? Okay? I never liked this guy. I never liked him. I didn't like him when he was in charge. And like most 3-letter agencies, the heads always think they're above the law. And he weaponized the FBI. Let me tell you, he went above and beyond. This is the same guy that let Hillary destroy evidence. This is the same guy that said there's no way to no prosecutor in the world would go after her. But then he went after Trump to have classified material. Okay? Comey is straight up a scumbag. Because he allowed certain people to slide when he was the head, but then immediately went after Trump. Because that's what Democrats do. They let each other slide, but, oh, God, oh, no, Trump, kill him. Kill him, do this, do this, do this. Why do I say kill him? Because Comey and many others have spoken their disgust for President Trump during his first term and now this. So Comey says he's walking down the beach aimlessly. La, la, la. He's just enjoying his retirement. Bullshit. He just wrote a book and he wants to get fucking publicity, right? He's walking down the beach and he found these seashells in this unique order. It says 8647. And he posted it. And he goes, wow, isn't this political? Isn't this nice? And he got nailed for it. People started yelling at him. So he pulled it back because he said he had no idea what 86 means. He had no idea. Okay, so I went to Wikipedia just for the hell of it, right? 86 means throw out, eject, cancel, dismiss. So 8647. 47 is the 47th president. You're telling me you have no idea. You're the former head of the FBI and you have no idea that 86 means that. Bullshit. You're a lying scumbag. There is no way in hell that you don't know what that means. Especially being in charge of the FBI. Cops, all law enforcement. We all talk in lingo. We all talk in codes. And you can't tell me you didn't know what that meant. I can't believe that in the FBI you didn't investigate mobsters. I know mobsters use it. Restaurants use it. The problem is Comey thinks, just like all Democrats, that the American citizen are a bunch of imbeciles. And as long as you tell them what you want to tell them, they'll believe you. It's ridiculous. And all because it's Trump. It's all because it's Trump. I personally have walked the beach. I live in Florida. I live near Clearwater Beach. I live near a lot of beaches. I have never in my entire life walked down a beach and saw seashells arranged in any kind of thing except for maybe every once in a while, I love mom or I love dad or I miss daddy. My wife did that when I was mobilized to RTC. She had my son go out to the beach and write and draw. I love daddy. I miss you. Okay, yeah, that happens. Seashells arranged that way. Piss off. I don't believe you. Comey, you did it yourself and you're a scumbag for doing it. But guess what? Hey, you're going to find out how hard it is being on the other side of the badge. Because now you're in the Secret Service and the new FBI's crosshairs. And now he's going to be under investigation. And I hope he gets what he deserves. Which is he belongs in fucking prison. Because of some of the shady shit he's done. Right? All right. So, let's talk about Major League Baseball. If you haven't heard, the commissioner of Major League Baseball, Rob Manfred, removed Pete Rose, Shoeless Joe Jackson, and many other deceased players from the MLB permanent ineligible list. All right, and if you don't know what that is, the ineligible list from the Major League Baseball is people that are basically permanently banned. They can't play baseball anymore. They can't be inducted into the Hall of Fame. They can't do anything with it, right? So lots of people have been permanently banned, okay? Well, Manfred decided, no longer, right? He said that the MLB's punishment for banned individual players ends at time of death. So upon their death, okay? Which makes sense, right? I mean, let's be honest. If you screw up and you get banned, should that ban continue after you pass? I mean, because you're taking a legacy away. Yeah, they screwed up. But you know what? Pete Rose and Shoeless Joe Jackson were amazing baseball players. Take away from what they did wrong. They were amazing baseball players and made records. But because of what they did wrong, they were no longer eligible to be in the Hall of Fame. Well, now, thanks to the Major League Baseball commissioner, they are now eligible. Now, there's a lot of controversy because obviously these two are perfect examples of really big black marks on Major League Baseball. But they still have a legacy, and should their families and their legacy suffer, right? Okay? So if you don't know who Shoeless Joe Jackson is, he was banned due to the 1919 World Series incident. The White Sox and the Cincinnati Reds were playing the 1919 World Series. 8 of the White Sox players conspired with gamblers to throw the games for bribes, right? Which gave the Reds the win. In the end, the Reds won the World Series. And the White Sox were called the Black Sox. That's what the event was called. That scandal was called the Black Sox. There's a movie about it. Obviously gambling and throwing games, just not a good thing, right? Now, Pete Rose, he was a player and a manager of the Cincinnati Reds who was accused of betting on baseball. And he denied it and denied it and denied it up until 2004 when he finally admitted that he betted on baseball, including games he played and games he managed. Now, that's not good. It's not good. Because you can change the outcome of the game. But he admitted it. Eventually, they banned him. If you take away that, he's a Hall of Famer all day long. So should he be punished? Should his legacy be punished? He's been punished, physically, or not physically, but while he was alive, he was punished. Couldn't play, couldn't manage, couldn't be involved, couldn't be in the Hall of Fame. So he suffered. He took his punishment, and that was from the 80s all the way up to the day he died. So I'm for what Manfred said. I don't think that once a man dies, that ban should continue. It should be lifted, and that legacy should be celebrated to a point. I mean, obviously, you can always talk about the bad things, but what about the good things that, he did? All right. So, Pope Francis passed away since my last video. And the Catholic Church now has new leader, Pope Leo XIV, the first American Pope. Folks, this is a big thing, because I can tell you as a Roman Catholic, my whole life, since I can remember, I was always told there will never be an American Pope. And when the conclave was going on, and my son and I were talking about it, my son even said he was told in Sunday school and throughout his life, there will never be an American Pope. Well, I guess never say never. So congratulations, Pope Leo. I hope you do well for the Roman Catholic Church. But with this new Pope, I guess President Trump decided he wanted to post an AI picture of him dressed up as the Pope during the conclave. And if you don't know what a conclave is, that's the election of the Pope. And the picture's pretty good, all right? But man, it upset a lot of people. I'm Catholic. I thought it was funny as shit. But there are a lot of upset people. And to those upset people, I say get a sense of humor, okay? It's funny. Think about it. He's just posted a picture of himself dressed up as a pope, right? This is what Donald does. He trolls people, and people fall for it every time. You really think he wants to be the pope? I mean, come on. It's just a picture, right? He posted a picture of himself as a Jedi on May 4th. And for those who don't understand what that means, on May 4th, Star Wars fans have a big celebration called May the 4th Be With You. So on that day, he posted a picture, or his assistant, I don't know who posted it, but there's a picture of him pretty buff, looking like a Jedi. May the 4th be with you. It's to poke fun and have fun. Though, in the picture, and now I'm going to sound like a little Star Wars guy, he was holding a red saber. A red lightsaber, right? Now, if you don't know anything about Star Wars, certain colors mean certain things. Red, always red is a Sith, which is the opposite of a Jedi, which is normally the evil people. But I don't think that was the concept, though people pinged on that. Oh, it's red. Guarantee the red lightsaber was symbolizing the Republican Party, because the Republican Party is red. Okay? Back off, relax, go toke on some marijuana, have a drink. If you're so wound up about these pictures, you really don't have a sense of humor. He did another one for Cinco de Mayo. It's funny as hell. He's just having fun. And all these people, and I'm sorry, some of my friends and family on Facebook are going nuts over it, but yet those are the same people that have posted, hey, look at me as a Simpson. Hey, look at me as a Star Wars character. Hey, look at me as Beth in Yellowstone. Dude, most of the people bitching about this, tons of you guys use AI all the time on Facebook. I've seen tons of pictures of my friends as a British soldier or as a World War II pinup model. So stop. That's all he's doing. He's just like you and me, except he's the president. He has a sense of humor. He's just goofing off and he's being a human being. I find it so funny that people can't get a sense of humor with this man. He didn't disrespect the Pope. He didn't disrespect the papacy. Okay, he was just having fun. Look, here's some pictures of me as the Pope. I went on the internet. Make me the Pope. Boom. It's just fun. He just was trying to have a little fun, poke around a little bit. That's all. You can say what you want about disrespect, but you know what? The Roman Catholic Church, again, I'm Roman Catholic. Roman Catholic Church has bigger things to worry about, okay? They got enough skeletons in their closet that they don't need to be freaking jumping around, screaming and yelling, all right? Okay, for all you Gen Xers and baby boomers and everybody older than us, you ain't going to believe this, but the Yugo, yes, the Yugo is coming back. That iconic piece of crap car from the 80s that was like less than $5,000 is coming back. Now, I remember them because there was always the big joke, hey, you want to go with me? No, you go. You go. I had a friend in Wickham Lake in Warwick that had one, and we used to toll around in it, but it was just the cheapest built car that you'd ever been in. But it was fun. I mean, it was a car, you know. But they're bringing it back. I don't know why. It looks pretty nice. I don't know why you'd bring it back after so long. But hey, if they build it well, then maybe it'll succeed again. I mean, look, when Hyundai and Kia came out, people laughed at those cars. They were cheap. They were ugly when they first came out. And they weren't really competitive with the European and the American cars. Now they're freaking big ass names. I mean, Kia, some of these Kias, man, they look better than some of the other American cars. That's about it, man. I mean, it's a blowback to see the Yugo coming back. I just thought that was funny. Guys, I hope you enjoyed my video. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, tell your friends, tell your family. Hey, don't forget, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Twitter, or AKA X. You know, let everybody know. Again, you can go to my website and click on it. My email's there. Send me a message. Let me know if there's something you want to look at or talk about, or you thought that something's interesting. We'll talk about it. I got some videos coming up on the next one where we're going to talk about how people react to law enforcement officers when they're trying to do their job. All right? So, with that being said, I'm out of here.